The story starts with Shinichi waking up from his sleep because he heard someone talking to him, and Shinichi thought it was just a dream. He got up and went down for breakfast. His father's name is Kazuyuki and his mother's are Nobuko. Briefly, we see the story of a mysterious man who is on the news and he can change his face. Back to Shinichi's story. On his way to school, he met Murano, and his hand accidentally touched Murano's body and made Murano angry. In class, Shinichi fell asleep and had a dream. There was a creature like a snake that got into his nose, but he sneezed and the creature got thrown out. The creature attacked again and entered Shinichi's right hand. He tied his hand with a rope, preventing the creature from crawling onto his body. Because of Shinichi's screams, his parents went into his room to check on Shinichi's condition. He said there was a snake that got into his hand, but after checking with his father, the hole was not there. Shinichi woke up from his dream, and he was scolded by his teacher. On the way home from school, he used his right hand to stop a car that nearly hit a small child. He felt something strange with his right hand. After arriving home, he went into his room and took a knife, but suddenly his hand was split open and changed shape. The creature said he had eaten Shinichi's right hand and had taken his hand. He stabbed his knife into the creature but was restrained and the knife broke. Then the creature fell asleep and his hands returned to normal. Shinichi also looked for information on the internet about his hands but did not find anything. He came down for dinner. The story continues with the man who was drunk and spilled blood on the street. When he wakes up in the morning, Shinichi finds his hands reading a book and can even use the computer. That being said, he didn't manage to take Shinichi's brain and was only trapped in his hands. The creature offered Shinichi to work with each other because it had become one with his hands. It then fell asleep again and his hands returned to normal again. Shinichi also continued his breakfast with his parents. After that, he went to school. On the way, the creature woke up and sensed that there is another one like it around that area. The creature told Shinichi to go and look for it. Shinichi was scared and wanted to go in the other direction. However, the creature made him go. They continued their search, and it turned out to be a dog. After a few moments, the creature sensed that it wanted to eat Shinichi, and so it told Shinichi to run. The dog changed shape and chased after them. Seeing that, Shinichi's right hand immediately attacked the dog. He managed to paralyze it, and the dog fell and finally died. The story continues with an evening where a woman was being harassed by 3 men. Suddenly she was helped by an unknown person. The unknown man drove her home, but he was again attacked by 3 attackers, and in the end, they were all killed by him. The story continues in the morning. On his way to school, the creature told Shinichi to call it Miggy. At school, Shinichi suddenly becomes good at playing basketball, apparently thanks to Miggy's help. After finishing playing basketball, Shinichi apologized to Murano because yesterday his hand moved by itself and touched Murano's body. Finally, Murano forgave him, on the condition that Shinichi had to treat her to eating pancakes. Suddenly, Nagai invites Shinichi to the outdoor field. There he hits Shinichi because he feels jealous seeing Shinichi close to Murano. Miggy attacked Nagai back. She fell and ran away in fear. Shinichi returned to the classroom, and his friend told him about a murder case where the victim was brutally chopped up. Arriving at home, Shinichi also checked the news of the murder on the internet. Shinichi intends to turn himself into the police and let Miggy be the object of research, but Miggy doesn't agree with the idea. It threatened to fight with all its might if Shinichi put his life in danger. Shinichi then went out for a walk in the city. Suddenly, Miggy felt the presence of his friend in the crowd of people. Shinichi walked up to the creature, but Miggy told him to dodge because he wasn't sure he could beat him. But Shinichi's still looking for the creature, and when he arrived at a field, they met. The creature also knows that Miggy failed to take the master brain of his host, and offered Miggy to join him. He cuts off his hand so that Miggy can merge with him. But Miggy refused and immediately killed the creature. At night before going to sleep, Shinichi thinks about Miggy's presence on his body could be a good thing. In the morning, Shinichi kept his promise to Murano. he treated her to pancakes. After eating, they walked to the park and saw a cat buried in the sandbox and tortured by 3 small children. Seeing that, Shinichi helped the cat out and scolded the child who threw stones. They don't like Shinichi's action and throw stones at Shinichi. The stone can be caught easily. Seeing Shinichi's reaction, the 3 kids got scared. Shinichi and Morocco continued their journey. In the middle of the journey, Morocco took Shinichi's hand. The next day, they met again on the way to school. Suddenly, Miggy felt the presence of his friend again. It turns out that his friend is in the school environment and is a substitute math teacher named Miss Tamia. The teacher immediately noticed Miggy's presence. Shinichi also entered the math class taught by Mrs. Tamia, and after school, Mrs. Tamia asked Shinichi to go to the concert room. Shinichi arrived at the concert room. Mrs. Tamia asked Shinichi to meet after school because she wanted to exchange information with him. Shinichi arrived at the place where they would meet. Miggy said that he felt 2 of his colleagues were coming. It turns out that Mrs. Tamia brought a friend named A. They then talked to each other, and Mrs. Tamia says that they can't reproduce. Mrs. Tamia threatens Shinichi that if he dares to do something stupid, she will kill all his classmates. The next day in class, Miggy senses there is something with the intent to kill. It turns out to be A. He immediately killed 3 people. The school immediately evacuated all school students. Shinichi asked Miggy to detect a position and immediately separated himself from the crowd of students. He arranged tables and chairs into a shield and waited for arrival. Miggy gives an iron pipe to Shinichi and says he must join the fight so as not to be killed. Finally arrived, he entered through the window and they immediately fought. Miggy and Shinichi devised a plan where Miggy would block the attack and Shinichi would attack. Shinichi slowly approached A. He took out his weapon and directly stabbed into a heart. Immediately bled profusely, and he tried to run, but his condition began to die. He approached Mrs. Tamia's room, but the room was blasted by Mrs. Tamia. Shinichi and Mrs. Tamia meet somewhere. She told Shinichi that she intends to kill all mankind. Finally, Mrs. Tamia changed her form, but suddenly she gave up her intention to attack Shinichi. At night, Tamia's mother visited Tamia's house. Suddenly her mother realized that the Tamia she saw was not her child. She wanted to report it to the police but was immediately killed by Tamia. Shinichi woke up in the morning. He was very surprised to see his right hand missing. It turned out that Miggy was able to free itself from Shinichi's body. He went down for breakfast. His father and mother said that they were going on vacation and told Shinichi to take care of the house. The next day, his parents were ready to leave and said goodbye to Shinichi. The story continues with a young man and his partner are driving at night, and they have an accident. It turns out that the woman is a parasite creature. Back to Shinichi's story. On his way to school, he saw Nagai being beaten by several young men. He scolded them, but one of the young men approached and hit Shinichi. And they continued to beat Nagai. Shinichi scolded him again, and he was beaten again by the young man in red. Kana stopped the boy who was beating Shinichi. She approached Shinichi and looked into his eyes, but she was shocked and scared. At school, his friends asked the cause of the wound on his face, but Shinichi didn't want to explain. On the way home from school, Shinichi and Morocco are attacked by the young men who beat Nagai. They catch Murano and Shinichi warns them to release her. They beat Shinichi, but he asks Miggy not to interfere. According to Miggy, Shinichi's strength is too weak and he can't beat them. Suddenly Nagai and his friends came. Finally, they were ganged up by Nagai's friends. Murano took Shinichi home and treated his wound. She praised Shinichi's courage. After that, Murano said goodbye and she went home. Suddenly Kana appeared and asked Shinichi to make peace. The story continues with Shinichi's parents who are enjoying the sunset view. Suddenly there was a figure behind Nabuko and immediately cut off her head. His father calls Shinichi and says his mother was killed by a monster. Shinichi was very panicked and he couldn't do anything because he didn't know where his parents were. In the morning, Miggy detects a friend approaching them. Shinichi takes a knife and goes to the door. It turned out to be his mother, but Miggy said that that person is no longer his mother because the parasite had taken the mastermind. Shinichi couldn't believe it and threatened to cut Miggy. Suddenly his mother turned into a monster and immediately attacked Shinichi, and he immediately fell. Seeing that condition, the only way to save their lives is for Miggy to merge itself into Shinichi's heart. Shinichi slowly started to breathe, but Miggy needed time to recover from their condition. The next day, Morocco finds out Shinichi is not attending school. She gets worried and plans to visit him after school. At Shinichi's house, Miggy tries to restore their stamina. It gives Shinichi a drink of sugar water. Suddenly the phone rang, and Shinichi began to regain consciousness. He took and put on his glasses, but his vision became blurry. He cleaned his hands and took off his shirt. The hole in his chest had naturally closed. The phone rang again. It turned out to be from the hospital, which said his father was in the hospital. Shinichi immediately left, but at the door, he met Murano and said that his parents had been in trouble. He then left Murano behind. On the way on the ship, Shinichi thought about his father's condition and worried that his mother would find and kill his father. At the hospital, his father is being questioned by the police who told him that his wife is still alive. Hearing that, Shinichi's father became very confused. Finally, Shinichi arrived at the hospital and went straight to his father. He was very sad about what happened to his mother. His father told him to rest at the hotel, but he chose an inn close to the hospital so he could take care of his father. Shinichi feels he is becoming more sensitive. At night, while healing Shinichi's wounds, it told him that it has separated from his body for too long, thus making it weak. Because of this, in a day it will sleep for 4 hours and cannot detect enemies. In the morning, Shinichi brought the newspaper for his father. After that, he sat on the side of the road. Suddenly, Miggy said he felt the presence of his friend around the beach. He headed straight for it, but his path was blocked by a wall, and Shinichi jumped over the wall. He continues to approach his target. It turns out that it's not his mother. Miggy prepares to attack, but realizes that the man still has a human brain. It turned out that the parasite only took the man's mouth and neck. He said when he was about to kill himself, the parasite got into his neck and he fell into the water. The man couldn't breathe. The parasite was forced to join his mouth and went upstairs to take in oxygen. The parasites had the same fate. They couldn't take the human brain. Shinichi and Miggy get to know the man. His name was Mamoru Yuta. Shinichi also told about what happened to his family. Mamoru Yuta said he would help Shinichi fight his enemy. In the evening, Miggy says that it can divide himself, and by the time he closes Shinichi's wound, part of his body has merged with Shinichi's body. This makes Shinichi's body stronger, so he can run fast and jump over high walls. In the morning, Shinichi gets a call from Mamoru Yuta. He says a parasite has appeared. Shinichi told Mamoru Yuta to avoid his enemy and asked him to lure it towards Shinichi instead. He quickly ran towards Mamoru Yuta, but suddenly Miggy fell asleep and changed its shape into a weapon. Finally, Mamoru Yuta met Shinichi's mother. She immediately changed her form and was ready to attack Mamoru Yuta. They finally fought. Mamoru Yuta was cornered, his heart pierced by a knife from the enemy, and fell to the ground. Finally, Shinichi got there and was ready to fight his mother. The attack from his mother can be avoided, and the direction of the attack can be seen by Shinichi. He sees Mamoru Yuta has been killed by his mother. This aroused Shinichi's anger. He managed to injure his mother's stomach and targeted the neck, but Shinichi still remembered his real mother and couldn't bear to kill her. Suddenly his mother's head was attacked and chopped into several pieces. It turned out that it was Mamoru Yuta's. He was still alive. We then see Shinichi looked at the ocean and told his mother that the whole thing is over now. In the end, we see Shinichi said goodbye to the motel keeper, and he then left to go pick up his father from the hospital. What a great story the movie has brought. Stay tuned for another video. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button for more videos like this.